Hi everybody, welcome back to the Leonardo the Lion tutorials. Today we are going to start with the finishing instructions at the end of the pattern specifically for Leonardo's little chest applique. So this little patch right here is just basically right where the collar is going to go around. His sweater collar is going to be attached here and then around his head after we seam his head on. But the first thing we have to do is seam on this little chest applique patch, because when we go and put the head on, it's going to his chin is going to overlap this slightly, because it's meant to just look like his royal little chest is peeking out through his sweater. So let's get to it. First thing we're going to do, so just like before, I've pre-knit all of my little pieces. So first thing we're going to do is grab some pins. So my little handy box of T-pins. And in her instructions, she says to pin the chest applique to the center of the chest so that the top edge of the applique, which is this wide edge here, your cast on edge, is approximately 2 inches or 5 centimeters below the top seam of the body. And then you're just going to use your tapestry needle and yarn tails. So I'm going to use this tail and this tail to seam the chest applique to the body. So my seam line is right here. Kind of hard to see that, sorry. Let's see if I can get it down low enough. So here's my seam line, the top of the shoulders, and that's about 2 inches. Yeah, right there. That's about 2 inches. And then, yep, center of his body. So I'm just gonna put a couple of pins in this just to help it lay flat, because as we all know, stockinette really likes to curve up or curl up. So just sticking my T-pins in. I love T-pins for knitting. They don't get lost in fabric the same way that straight pins, like sewing straight pins, can. So I just have them in great supply and quantity. So there we go. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to, oops, sorry, I didn't realize I got out of frame there for a minute. So the first thing that I'm going to do is sew the top across, because I think that's going to stabilize it the fastest. And then I'll work on the two sides. So I think what's going to happen here is I'm going to use this tail to sew across here and then down this side and then hide that end, and then use this tail right here to sew down this side and then hide the end, just so that I don't have to use multiple tails. So I'm just going to move that over the side and grab my tapestry needles. So for this, I'm going to use, just like before, I'm just going to use a simple mattress stitch, because I think that's going to look the best. Because this is probably not going to be, this top line here is probably not going to be visible. For example, before I start sewing this down, just to double check, I've already, excuse me, sorry for shaking the camera there, I've already made Leonardo's head. So here's his head. It's the back side of his head, front side of his head. And the way that we're going to seam it is his chin is going to overlap like that. So it's not like we're seaming the chin of his chin directly to the top of his shoulders. It's going to overlap like so. So it's like his neck is here and his chin is coming out. So you can see this is going to overlap a bit, but I still want it to look nice just in case people see it. So that's why I've chosen to use mattress stitch. I'm going to set his little head aside for right now. And now that I've double checked with his head to see that my placement is good, I'm going to go ahead and start stitching this little applique down. So I'm just using my fingers to spread it out a bit, and I'm just going to find that first stitch on the body and go under, and then do the same thing on my applique. And I'm just going to continue doing that. Whoop. Sometimes a little stuffing pops out, that's okay. Just stick it back in. I'm just going to go row to row. That looks pretty good. I like the way that's looking. Let's keep on going. See that? So that cast on, this like cast on edge here is just going to disappear as you're seaming. It's going to get folded under. And really the thing that you have to be the most conscientious of while you're sewing on something like that is that it's basically in a straight line. You don't want it to be too crooked when you sew it on. And you want to make sure that it's as much in the center of the piece as you possibly can make it. And you just keep on going. Let me just, maybe I can speed this up for you guys or come back once I finish this top edge. Okay, look at that. So we're back. That's sewn on edge. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. But you know what? It doesn't need to be. Because his little chin is going to cover up that right there. So any little peaks of fluff that you caught that might be popping through, if it's not exactly on the same row, it's fine. You don't need to worry about it. Nobody's perfect. Especially Leos. So let's start. Now I have enough left in this tail to be able to seam this side down too. So let's go ahead and do that. Now this edge is definitely going to get hidden under the ribbing, the collar ribbing. So just, again, be kind to yourself while you're sewing, because this is not the, you know, most intuitive seaming in the whole world, but it's fine. So just kind of doing this odd mattress stitch along the edges, and I'm just, see that? So I'm just going under, just kind of like following the seam, the line of the fabric of the chest applique down. And I'm not pulling too hard because I don't want this to pucker. And then I'm going in on the very edge of the very edge stitches, just like you would if you were seaming a sweater together or seaming anything together. Let's just keep going. The end. You can hear a little jingling in the background. I have a very curious dog up here trying to figure out what the heck I'm doing. Okay, here we go. It's that last stitch. I'm going to take my pin out because I don't need it anymore. And just get down into that last edge stitch. There it is, all attached. So I'm just gonna go back and hide this end here. I realize I just like missed catching one of those spots, so that's fine. On the, like, I just realized I missed a little piece right there on the body, so I'm just gonna go back because I have enough yarn. Just gonna secure it into the body, and this is a really great way to sew in this end too. So I'm gonna thread it underneath the edge and give it a little yank, and I'm just gonna give it a little tug there so that like, again, we don't want it to pucker. And it's okay if this is like not perfectly flat, because like I said, you're gonna be sewing the ribbing of your sweater collar right down along the side, so it's all gonna meet up together. So let's give this side a little trim. And let's get to it on the other side. So I'm going to go into the body first on this side, and then I'm going to go into my edge stitches, and just take your time with it. Figure out where your tapestry needle needs to go. Clearly mine needs to go like this. I'm going to go in under the body again. Seaming on his little chest hair patch. See that? Now, you know, I'm using mattress stitch, but again, if you wanted to use whip stitch or another type of seam that you think might look better, by all means, go ahead and do that. I'm just showing you what makes sense to me while I sew on these pieces. So, just gonna finish this up here. Seam it back, seam this last bit down to the body. Look at that. Ta-da! So, there you go. A little triangle of chest hair. Take out that pin. We don't need it anymore. Let's not stick myself for no reason. And I'm just gonna hide the tail underneath. What's great about seaming these toys is that you don't really need to weave in ends like you would with a regular project, which is great. I love that. Okay. Let's see. Sorry, don't want to shake the camera too much. Sorry about that. But there you go. There it is. His little chest patch. Stay tuned for the next tutorial on attaching his head.